Hello guys, and welcome to another video. And today it is October 31st, so it's end of the month, end of my 30-day challenge, which was actually yesterday. And I wasn't very good at filming what I've been doing for like the last section, but I have kept up with my prompts, so I'm really proud of myself for keeping going, and I've managed to keep up with drawing every single day for 30 days. So that in mind, I want to show you the last few days and what I have done. So here we are, let's work backwards. So this is day 30, which was my last day, which was yesterday. I chose the prompt trees, and I am so pleased with how this turned out. I just used some of my colouring pencils. I did a brief outline, first of all, with a graphite pencil. And then I got all these details in, and I'm just so pleased with how it looks. So these are what I used, just a small handful of pencils. Yeah, really easy, really fun, and quite meditative actually, especially doing these fine details, which I was using this tiny little, what's this? I think it's a Luminance Dark Indigo, yes. So yeah, really pleased with that spread. Day 29 was Daisy, and I've really I was quite upset with how the watercolour and, well, this was actually Neocolour 2s and gouache came out on here. I feel like the water sinks totally into the page and it kind of is quite wishy-washy. But yeah, my idea is to paint with gouache and paint daisies over the top of this. And these are my lovely hand-drawn detailed daisies, which I'm really pleased with. I think I've really found my confidence with using my fine line pens, and I do love working with those. This is day 28, and I couldn't decide which one to choose, so I went with bees and dragonflies. So here is a bee, again, loves just using my fine line pen. And here is a dragonfly, which I've still got to finish the wings. But I just love this idea really of working with wings or working on wings. So yeah, definitely a few more of those to draw or paint on this spread. And then we have houses, which was day 27. So this is kind of inspired by combining like a house and the seed heads, this idea of having things coming up the chimney. But I've got to say, this is probably my favourite page or spread of my whole sketchbook. And I just used a black fine line pen. I did briefly draw this out in graphite pencil first of all, but I wanted to do kind of like a montage, almost like a really surreal, ethereal, kind of merging, almost dreamlike, of everything merging together. So yeah, blending lots of different images. Again, I've got the chimneys with things coming out of them. The chimney here has got the full house coming out of it. I drew flowers and florals and patterns like that kind of on the brickwork of the houses. I am really pleased with this. I can't wait to see this spread finished actually and see what it looks like. But yeah, so I think day 26 was my seed heads here. So you can see now how this kind of married together with the houses and then became kind of this very whimsical, actually, very whimsical. And then pulling the trees back in again, but kind of doing them in colour. So this was the end of the project. So that was my last few days, or the last week really, of my Inktober project. I did manage to get a few video clips of kind of the last, I don't know, couple of weeks of drawing. So I want to insert those here for you so that you can see little bits of the process over that time. So I'll insert that here. So the other morning I got up early to go and put the bins out, and it was still dark. It was just that dawn time, and as I stepped outside, it was the most magical world out there. I could see the moon and the stars. All I could hear was an owl hooting and the waves crashing, and it was the most kind of beautiful, all-encompassing experience. I just felt like I was being hugged by this magical sound and experience. And as the sun started to rise, all I could see were these silhouettes of the plants and hedgerows, and just the shapes were appearing. And it was so beautiful because it really reminded me of my shadow drawings that I did earlier on in the summer, and just really looking at the forms and the shapes, and just really interesting. I just found it so inspiring, and it really for me captured the essence of that feeling that I felt when I stepped outside. So yeah, I went around the garden like a crazy woman with my camera and just started trying to capture some of these shapes that I could see. And what surprises me the most is it's not always like an obvious leaf shape, for example. It's not an obvious vine shape, which is what I draw. But yeah, just these really interesting black shapes against the sky as the sun and the light was starting to burst through. And straight away, it just made me want to capture all of these in my sketchbook. And so that became my theme for the day, which was to kind of draw a spread based around all of the things that I had felt and seen in the morning. I basically wanted to add in the owl as well, and obviously did lots of vine kind of shapes and tried to draw in the waves as well. But yeah, just really using that as inspiration. This has really given me a lot of ideas as well moving forward, of potentially like going for walks or being out in nature and then somehow capturing that experience and the essence of how I felt in my artwork. And I think that's really inspired what I want to do for 2025 and the next year to come. I think it's not always about drawing what's obvious, and it's somehow more about expressing what you're getting excited about. So obviously I already use all of my midnight skies in my drawings, so that's something I definitely love to incorporate, and that really brings that kind of essence of magic for me as well. But just kind of marrying lots of themes together in kind of a whimsical or surreal way. I'm really excited about that idea and sort of where that might take me. So I'm really interested to see where this goes in the future. Other drawings that I have done over the week include doing my seed heads as well, so just practicing again kind of shapes and silhouettes, things that I find really inspiring and that I could really see being used in my mandala orb imagery, but also just playing with colour. And I think that was something I've kind of missed from this month-long project, is that everything's very motif based, and I've really missed just that essence of playing with colour. And I think it's made me realise a lot actually over the last month about what's important to me and what's important to my artwork and my art practice. And there's definitely this marriage between the two of the colour play as well as kind of these detailed drawings. And other people might see it better than I do, but I think sometimes you need to reaffirm for yourself what's working and what's not, and what's important and what's not, and kind of how you want to move forwards with your art. Something else that I've really loved was these detailed drawings of houses, and it's really surprised me how much I love doing these, because buildings and kind of places, things like that, sort of urban landscape, is something I very much veer away from drawing. And I can't believe actually how much I loved capturing so much detail, like all the brickwork and just the difference in lines between, say, like very angular lines of roofs and, you know, straight vertical lines for the buildings versus quite organic lines of potential like
rocks or trees, or even like the curves of sort of arched windows. There's just some really interesting things going on in there, and I've really loved that. So really looking forward to using these more in the future.
So yeah, there was a little bit of process there, so you can see what I've been up to. I now want to show you a full flip through tour of the sketchbook as it is now. So this is all of the work that I created in October. I wanted to genuinely create as much work as I could. I wanted to not pre-prep my pages like a lot of people do for their Inktober projects, which is fine, by the way. I think we all deal with this challenge in different ways. I wanted this to be a true representation of all the work I actually managed to do in October. So that's why today on the 31st, I thought it was really important for me to record this flip through for you. What I do want to do, this is my plan for November, is to keep working in the sketchbook. So I want to go back to the beginning and finish every spread. So November is my kind of gentle work through and kind of progress through everything and finish off all the spreads so that I've got a nice finished sketchbook at the end, because I'm really happy with the themes that I chose. These are themes I've really wanted to work on for ages, some of them for years, and I've been really surprised by the work that's come out of it. So I almost want to use this as like a reference book moving forward, so that the next bunch of work I do is a development from this. So yeah, really looking forward to just taking November, taking my time to keep working in the sketchbook and keep finishing off all of the lovely spreads that I started and didn't get a chance to kind of get around to doing. So let me show you my sketchbook tour for now. Okay, so here is my sketchbook. It is the Pith Cara Cara, I think it is. Either the Pith Cara Cara or the Lumia. It might be the Lumia, actually, the slightly larger one. Anyway, you'll have seen my setup page anyway if you've watched that intro video. So this is where I put all my themes down. These are just all the things I've really wanted to draw for ages. So I'm really pleased that I've put all of those in here. And then here we are, day one, Blackbird. So yeah, really enjoyed working with my black fine line pens. So it's always these, my Unipin fine line. I've got a 0.1 and a brush pen, and this is pretty much what I've done all of the black line work with throughout this sketchbook. As you can see, it's still got lots to finish. I think this is one of the very few actual finished spreads, which again was a total experiment with putting lots of mixed media in here basically. But yeah, really enjoyed the process of that. That was Primrose. Oops. I have Sparrow, again with lots of fine line pen. Ivy, this was just a very quick sort of colour sketch, again just trying things out. Day 5 was Oak, so playing with watercolour and these lovely oak leaves, again using some mixed media there to create some almost silhouette type shapes. Day 6 was Butterfly. Again, I'm back with my fine line. These I'd love to paint out with gouache, so it would be really nice to work on those. This was the first page I did where I really fell in love with gouache here. So this was day 7, Clover. These were all drawn with pencil, and then I used colouring pencil to colour them in. Even my washi tapes here are coloured in, so they're drawn and coloured. But yeah, really enjoyed this process here of kind of blending my gouache colours. Then day 8, this is one of my favourite spreads in the entire sketchbook. Really happy with how this turned out. Again, it was gouache and watercolour, so just a combination of things and just finding my confidence. I think that's been a huge thing over this project, is I'm just finding my confidence in my art and the way I like to work. Day 9 was Feather. I've managed to draw everything out, I just need to paint it all now. The same here for day 10, Poppy. And again, really beautiful. There's all sorts I could do with these petals, so that's going to be fun. Day 11 was Fish, and I just used my Supracolor Neo, what are they called? Caran d'Ache. So Caran d'Ache Supracolor pencils. I don't think I've got any on my desk right now. but they are so fun because they're water soluble. So I just scribbled out the colour and then I just used one of my little paintbrushes with water and activated it. I'd quite like to come back in over the top maybe with some gouache and paint in some vines or flowers or something over the top. I think that would be a really nice way to finish this spread. Day 12, hydrangea, and I really wanted to get this splattered effect. I will be honest, I'm not loving what's going on here, but this needs a lot of work anyway, so this is going to be fun to work back into. Day 13, eucalyptus, and again I love the leaf shapes that you get on a eucalyptus tree, just beautiful. And I was trying to almost get the layered effect with them as well, like one kind of imposition in front of another one, because whenever I draw vines I tend to draw them like this with very separate leaves, so wanting to kind of layer them up a bit to make it more interesting. Day 14, pansy. Again, this was a mixture of Neocolor 2s over here, which I really love the vibrancy of. So this was quite an eye-opener for me, that going back to where I started actually, like I love the colours here. These are, some are gouache and some are watercolour on this, but yeah, love the Neocolor 2s. Really love the outline I've done here for Dandelion, day 15, Dandelion. But I really want to come back in and paint this, and I want to really paint the entire spread, so probably do this in gouache, because I need to cover up all of this ink that's been leaking through from the following page, which was day 16, leaves. So this was the Liquitex ink that I splodged down with loads of water, and it seeped through the pages terribly. But yeah, nice to work on top of with gouache, and then over the top of the gouache I used coloured pencils as well, so nice details in there. As you can see here, day 17 fern, I put down this peachy colour in the background, mainly to cover all of the ink that was seeping through, and then gouached over the top. So again, really enjoyed this process, and for once I've not got a black outline, which is something I always tend to do, so it's really, really nice to kind of take that in a different direction and push myself out of my comfort zone to then not add the black line and see how it looks. Day 18, we've got blue tits and great tits, so I just love garden birds, little tiny beautiful garden birds. So I've drawn a load of these out in pencil. I'm going to come back and paint these throughout November. Day 19, brambles. I just wanted something easy to draw this day, and so just doing one kind of bramble motif. I just picked some of my favourite colours, so blues and turquoise in the Neocolor 2s, and just splodged it all down. And I think it's quite an effective spread actually. It's yeah, I'm really happy with how this looks. But sometimes, you know, you just need to make art that you enjoy making. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to really push. So that was one of those days. Day 20, lily, I think is the only day I managed to not draw something, but I put the prompt in and I definitely want to draw some lilies or paint them. Again, I love the kind of the form, that very sculptural form that lilies have, so that's going to be really nice to draw those. Day 21, colour play. And again, this was a day I didn't really know what to draw. I didn't really feel like drawing. I just wanted to play with some colour, so I splodged stuff down. So this is nothing, but at the same time, it was me working through things and layering stuff up. Similar here with day 22. Again, it's colour play, but I've added in some vines and combined watercolour in the background with then gouache over the top. So this is something I'd still like to work into and really push and see where those boundaries lie with finished, unfinished, overworked, and just, I don't know, what I could do with it and how I could push myself with mixed media. Day 23 was kind of a turning point for me. This was when I've used the prompt, putting out the bins, waves, owls and silhouettes. So this was the morning. It wasn't light yet. I went to put the bins out and it was so magical outside. The stars were shining so brightly, the moon was out. I could hear an owl hooting and I could hear the sea so loud, even though it's quite far away from where I live. And then just on the tops of the hedges, I could see the silhouettes of the brambles and things. So I wanted to make something that kind of represented that experience. And this has kind of opened a doorway for me because this is definitely the direction I want to take my work in, of almost being quite surreal and, yeah, whimsical, fairy tale, like splodging loads of things together that don't make sense necessarily, but when you apply them to something meaningful or an experience like that, they have a lot of meaning. And yeah, I love that. Day 24, owls. And again, I've gone back to my comfort zone, which is my brush pen. Love this character. Look at them. Owls are so fun. And this was just quick sketches. They felt easy and effortless, and the characters that came out of them has made me realize I really want to work more with owls. So that's a really fun thing to have discovered in this project, and yeah, can't wait to fill this spread with more owls. Day 25, shells. So as you will have heard, if I can hear the sea, you know that I'm quite close to the coast. So yeah, shells or found objects on the beach is definitely a theme I want to work with, and it kind of goes back to expressing myself and the experiences I have. I really want to go and draw on location a lot more. That's kind of an aim or a plan I have, especially for 2025. So this kind of ties in with that theme of kind of collecting special, precious things whilst I'm out in nature, out on a wander, and then collecting them together somehow. So almost being like that treasure seeker. Day 26, we've got seed heads. Again, this is a theme I come back to quite often. So fun to draw, so many different types of motifs. They look great as a silhouette. This reminds me of my shadow drawings as well that I was doing earlier in the spring and summer. Especially with a nice hedgerow on a sunny day, as the sun casts across the hedge, there's always the most amazing shadows along the floor. So yeah, this reminded me of that. And day 27, here we are, houses, which is probably like my favorite spread. And again, this idea of surreal and whimsical and blending things together. I love this idea here of almost having this flow of things merging somehow. But coming back to my fine line pen, so something I really want to do is maybe do something similar to this on this page, but experiment with using watercolor with it. So if I draw it out first in the fine line and then fill bits out in watercolor and just see how that goes. That's a process I've never really tried before. This I think would look awesome in color as well. So yeah, really pleased with how that's looking. Day 28, bees and dragonflies, and I'm very much inspired by the wings. So potentially taking the wings from these and adding them in a surreal way to other things, collaging maybe. I love that idea. Day 29, daisy. So I've done some really nice hand-drawn daisies. I'd love to do some more abstract kind of expressive daisies as well in paint. So that's the plan with that. And then day 30, trees. And I love trees in the winter. I love the kind of skeleton that you get. We can really see the shapes and all the branches and how they work together. Absolutely stunning. Something I definitely want to capture more of over the winter. So that is all my prompts. That is my sketchbook. I pretty much filled a sketchbook doing that, but I think I've got 2 pages left. So it'd be nice to do a couple more trees here. And then something else I have done in the back is I have been swatching. So swatching my watercolors there. These are my Inktense blocks. Swatching inks. And again, I was kind of testing out the paper here as well, and how saturated my colours look. Again, this is my small tub of watercolours. And then I swatched every single pencil that I own, which actually was really fun. Here's the Supra colours. I'd love to get more of these. I think that in itself is a stunning colour palette. But equally, I love the fact that I could draw or colour with these. And I was thinking about this here with the trees. So I've used just normal colour pencils here, but I could go back in with a couple of these other ones and then water activate them. So you've kind of got this wash that sort of blends in with it, this kind of painted effect. So yeah, really, I think they're really special, the Supra coloured pencils. And then that is, oh yeah, I also, again, more colour play, but yeah, this was all the coloured pencils, but kind of bunching them together with like greens and blues and then all the warms, just seeing, you know, like I don't really have a lot of reds. I think that's the only orange, that one and that one. So just really looking at where I've got gaps in my colour palette. But yeah, I was so surprised that in a whole month I basically filled a sketchbook, which was awesome. And it just goes to show the amount of work I managed to do, especially while juggling 2 part-time jobs and being a mum. So yeah, there's a lot that I've managed to cram in there. And I'm so excited as to where this is going to take my work in the future. I'm really inspired now and I really feel on a roll. So I am going to do another flick through of this at the end of November for you guys, so you can see the progress of how I've developed what is kind of a shell of my ideas into completed final spreads. So anyway, I really hope that you have enjoyed watching this video. Thank you for coming along if you've watched all the videos for my Inktober project. I've absolutely loved it. And feel free to subscribe if you want to see in a month's time what happens and how this gets finished up, this sketchbook. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Lots of love. Bye.